Good evening. Welcome to the deliberative session for the Oyster River School District. If you would join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Just waiting for a few people to get seated, but we'll start off with a few of the things that we have here. First of all, I'll introduce myself. As in the past, I'm Richard Lawton, resident of Durham. My children, I've gone through the school district, my wife, her mother before her, so we've been tied to the Oyster River School District in Durham for generations here. What we're going to do is we're going to run through the deliberative session. We will be following Robert's Rules of Order as best we can. I would ask that everyone who wants to speak, please come down to the microphone, identify yourself, identify what town you live in, direct your questions through me to anybody here up on the stage. If you need an answer to a question, we'll get you the answer. I would like to ask that if you have to speak again, if you would let anybody who has not spoken on that subject speak before you speak twice on it. And as we always are, respectful and courteous here, and we'll get going with the work of the evening. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to read the posting that was posted. It's from Wendy DeFusio. I certify that on January 25, 2018, I posted the MS-26, the default budget, and the written warrant attested by the school board of the Oyster River Cooperative School District in the town of Durham at the Oyster River High School, the place of the meeting, in the town of Lee at the Mass Way School, in the town of Madbury at the Moheramet School. It's signed and it is notarized, and that's that. The next work that we have is, I believe we have a presentation. Brian Cisneros.
Good evening. This year's Distinguished Service Award goes to Brian Turnbull. Brian Turnbull is without a doubt indispensable and incredibly valuable to the Oyster River String Orchestra program. Brian worked tirelessly to lobby for an orchestra director position to be added to the school budget a couple of years ago, and due to his professionalism and passion, the position was added in a very short amount of time. Brian has volunteered weekly in various orchestra classes from grades 5 up through the high school. He always arrives early to assist in setting up chairs and stands, a necessity before every class, as classes are taught in shared spaces at both the middle and the high school. Brian learned how to tune stringed instruments and helped with this very long and essential task at the beginning of the classes. He also offers his support by playing double bass in the classroom with students. In addition to all of his volunteer work, Brian is also present at every concert that involves the various string orchestras in the district, and even helps and plays at concerts that involve the bands and choruses. He often takes care of setting up the formations of chairs and stands for the groups, and takes a break from playing with the orchestra to reset the setups between the different ensembles. He also assists with tech matters during our concerts and records most of the events for the benefit of the music department. Most recently, Brian, another parent, has taken on the very large task of organizing a boosters-like association for the string orchestra program. This involved constructing lengthy bylaws, researching legal implications, discussing this organization with administrators, and reaching out to parents to ask for assistance. This was an incredible amount of work and something that Brian came up with organically for the benefit of our students. This organization will be a huge asset to the Oyster River String Orchestra program in the future. We honestly can't say enough about Brian. He is a selfless person that has given countless hours of volunteer work. He is kind to our students, knowledgeable about music, intelligent, and giving of himself, expecting nothing in return. Brian is an exceptional person, and we are very thankful and very lucky that he has given so much to the string orchestra program and students at Oyster River. The program literally would not and could not exist without him. Brian Turnbull was instrumental in development of the robotics program at the high school. He joined Oyster River High School the team as a mentor, along with Mark Popecki, Carolyn Singer, and Garrett Ahlstrom in 2012. He volunteered an incredible number of hours working with students, developing the code for our robot over the 6-week build season in January and February, sometimes coming into school 6 or 7 days a week to troubleshoot the code and wireless communication. Brian traveled with us down to Worcester for the weekend competition at the Worcester Polytech Institute and was deeply involved in coaching the team as it responded to setbacks and developed a strategy for the games. Behind the scenes, he helped outline a plan for using the off-season time to get our team ready for build season, as well as building and maintaining a team website. Brian was also involved in the annual Seacoast First LEGO League competition, first as a fundraising opportunity for the team, but then stayed on with the event even after Oyster River High School's first team ended its involvement. Over the course of 4 seasons, Brian has continued his involvement and put an enormous amount of volunteer time into the program. Brian Turnbull helped inspire many high school students to pursue computer engineering and robotics, and he helped make an amazing opportunity available for many as well. Oyster River's robotics coach, Nate Oxnard, said, "I couldn't have run the team without his continued support." This year's Distinguished Service Award recipient, Brian Turnbull.
Thank you, Aaron.
Looking for something, I'll be right with you. There we go. Okay, now I've got something to read, and then we will start with the work of the evening. Excuse me. Oyster River Cooperative School District, the State of New Hampshire, 2018 school warrant. To the inhabitants of the Oyster River School District, Cooperative School District of Lee, Durham, Lee, and Madbury, qualified to vote upon district affairs. You are hereby notified to meet at the Oyster River High School in said district on the 6th day of February 2018 at 7 o'clock in the evening for session 1 of the annual school district meeting for the discussion of Articles 3 through 5 and for any amendments thereto. Warrant articles whose wording is prescribed by law shall not be amended, and no warrant article shall be amended to eliminate the subject matter of the article at session 1. Official ballot voting for the school district officers, Articles 1 and 2, and on Articles 3 through 5 will occur at the town polling locations on Tuesday, March 13th, 2018. Hopefully it doesn't snow again. The town of Durham, Oyster River High School, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Town of Lee, Lee Safety Complex, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Town of Madbury, Madbury Town Hall, 11 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. Article 1 will be to choose a moderator for the upcoming year. Article 2 will be to choose 3 school board members, 1 each from Durham, Lee, and Madbury for the ensuing 3 years. How this is going to go is there'll be a presenter who will come up, read the article, move the article, we'll get a second, then we'll have discussion, and if there's any changes to the article, we'll entertain motions from the floor. So the first article is Article 3, presented by Daniel Klein.
Good evening, everyone. Dan Klein, representing the town of Madbury. I move warrant Article 3, which reads as follows. Shall the district vote to approve, within the provisions of New Hampshire RSA 273-A:3, the cost items included in the collective bargaining agreement reached between the Oyster River Bus Drivers Association and the Oyster River School Board, which calls for the following increases in salaries and benefits at the current staffing levels. 2018-19, $54,083. 2019-20, $36,855. 2020-21, $41,223, and further to raise and appropriate the sum of $54,083 for the 2018-19 fiscal year, such sum representing the additional costs attributable to the increases in salaries and benefits required by the new agreement over those that would be paid at current staffing levels.
Is there a second? Explain.
Thank you. I apologize. I should have advanced the slides so you could read along with me. All right. So ORBDA, Oyster River Bus Drivers Association, is a somewhat new unit this year. Our bus drivers elected to form an official union. Speaking for myself and the other members of the School Board Negotiations Committee, our negotiations with this group were incredibly positive. It was a very extensive and thorough negotiations process, but like other negotiations that I've been a part of, this group was a real pleasure to work with, frankly. This contract we're presenting covers all regular bus drivers, so the exception might be, would be substitute bus drivers. The school board negotiated a new 3-year contract covering the years 2018 through 2021. Those of you who have children in the school district may know all too well some of the struggles that not only our district has had this year, but virtually every other district in the state has had around the issue of finding bus drivers. There's a pretty serious bus driver shortage in our state presently. One of the school board's goals in negotiating this new contract was to make our contract more marketable so that we'd be in a stronger position to recruit and retain the bus drivers that we need. So in year one, there is a 6.15% increase, and in each of these 3 years, so year two would be 4.09, 3, 4.40, in each of the 3 years, we have added incentive bonuses. It's important to know that the budgeted amount, the budgeted increase amount assumes a 100% not compliance, earning of the incentive bonuses on the part of the bus drivers. The likelihood of that is perhaps not great, but we budget the full amount. The actual amount would probably be somewhat less. But we and the bus drivers felt that it was important to offer these incentives for driving the scheduled number of days. So the way it works is for 2 semesters during the school year, the first of which being August through December, a driver can earn an additional $500 if they do not miss any scheduled days, and then $400 if they've missed only 2 days, a maximum of 2 days. And then that bonus resets for the period of January to June with the same incentives. Okay, some other changes in this contract as compared to the current contract. Personal days were eliminated. The perfect attendance bonus was added. A sick bank was created to make this group consistent with other collective bargaining groups that the school board works with. A $1,000 stipend for trainers to be paid at the end of the year was added, and drivers will have the opportunity to select the number of hours they work per week. They will do this at the beginning of prior to the beginning of the school year. Some advantages in this is that, as you see with the asterisks, helps to compensate for lost time due to the implementation of all-day kindergarten and change in start time, which one of the strategies to accommodate that was to combine some bus routes. So we have fewer bus routes, therefore our drivers are running fewer routes. This gives them greater certainty in their work schedule. There are advantages to our dispatchers and our schedulers in terms of scheduling. And again, it makes us an attractive workplace that we're offering sort of these guaranteed numbers of hours in the work week. Okay, and oops, and I'm jumping ahead, so that's it.
You've heard warrant Article 3. It's been explained. Are there any questions? Anything that anybody wants to add? You're welcome to come down. I don't see any. Did everybody pick up their voter card on the way in? For those of you who accept warrant Article 3 as presented, raise your cards. Those opposed? Warrant Article 3 is accepted as presented, and now we'll go to warrant Article 4. Denise Day.
Good evening, everyone. I am presenting warrant Article 4. Shall the district vote to approve within the provisions of New Hampshire RSA 273-A:3 the cost items included in the collective bargaining agreement reached between the Oyster River paraeducators and support staff and the Oyster River School Board, which calls for the following increases in salaries and benefits at the current staffing levels: 2018-2019, $64,876. 2019-2020, $64,939. 2020-2021, $75,239. And further to raise and appropriate the sum of $64,876 for the 2018-2019 fiscal year, such sum representing the additional costs attributable to the increases in salaries and benefits required by the new agreement over those that would be paid at current staffing levels. And the school board recommends this appropriation, and I would like to move warrant Article 4.
Is there a second? Okay, would you like to explain?
Yes. Okay, so the impact of the proposed contract in 2018-19, that $64,876 is 3.15%, and then 2019-2020 at the $64,939 is 3.06%. And 2020-2021, $75,239 is 3.44% increase. As far as benefit changes, there were 3 additional sick leave days added, so from a total of 7 to a total of 10. And this changed the cumulative amount from 30 to 60 days and added language to clarify they are for sick leave only. And then 1 day is available for personal business. Added a sick leave donation bank comparable to the other bargaining units. Added a vacation savings account option for employees who want to save their earned income for vacation time or summer periods. And then revised the current salary schedule to improve beginning step and gave top step employees an additional 50 cents per hour each year.
You've heard warrant Article 4. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? There being none, those who favor warrant Article 4 as presented, raise your voter ID card. Those opposed? Warrant Article 4 is accepted as presented. Warrant Article 5, Alan Howland.
Okay, warrant Article 5. Shall the district raise and appropriate as an operating budget, not including appropriations by special warrant article and other appropriations voted separately, the amount set forth on the budget posted with the warrant or as amended by vote of the first session for the purpose set forth therein totaling $45,625,555. Should this article be defeated, the operating budget shall be $45,555,984, the default budget, which is the same as last year within certain adjustments required by previous action of the district or by law, or the district may hold one special meeting in accordance with RSA 40:13, 10, and 16 to make up the issue of the revised operating budget only. The school board recommends this appropriation, majority vote required. Note, Fund 10, $44,199,061, the regular operating budget. Fund 21, $785,494,000, expenditures for food service revenues. Fund 22, $600,000, expenditures from federal and special revenues, and Fund 23 equals $41,000, expenditures from pass-through funds. I would like to move Article 5 as written.
Is there a second?
Sorry.
Is there a second? Thank you. Discussion? Oops. Explain.
Okay. Let me get this right. Okay. So to start with, in the fall, we always begin looking at a budget goal, and we don't just come up with a number randomly. We actually have been working for the last 5 years with a strategic plan, and the strategic plan provides guidance in operations, which is all of our facilities, as well as our academic areas. And this year, when we developed our budget goal, it was that the increase in expenditures less the use of new revenue would not exceed a 3.25% increase. Okay, you probably are not you're probably thinking money is the first thing I was going to talk about, and you probably weren't expecting that I would bring up the number of students. But every year when we do a budget, I always like to think that there's some kind of overriding story that really defines what we're trying to do. And this year, it really has to do with the elementary school facilities. And if you look at the numbers right here, you'll see that Mastway has 352 students, and Moheramet has 343 students. And that is really unusual. It wasn't that long ago that Moheramet had over 400 students. It was literally busting at the seams. The art class could no longer occupy its normal space because we needed every possible classroom. And so when we looked at that, we were faced with the decision of how would we handle this enrollment, particularly in light of the fact that Mastway was much, much smaller. And so we took the rather painful process of redistricting the elementary schools. And we grandfathered kids in, and over time we thought that the number of students at the two schools would equalize and we would reach parity. And if you look at what we've done here, we've kind of reached that. We also are lucky that we have a long-range planning group, and they really focus on what does our enrollment look like in the future. And of particular interest to us, where it's accurate, is the next 5 years. And I know this slide may be difficult for people in the back to look at, but if you look on the left-hand side, you'll see that Mastway is projected to start at 355 students. It bumps up a little, and then it comes back and finishes at 356 students. So it's a fairly stable school of that number. But if you look on the right-hand side at Moheramet, it starts at 335 and then slowly declines until at the end it's at 299 students. When we looked at this enrollment, it gave us an opportunity to address what we thought were two major issues with the elementary schools. At at Mohammed, for the last 21 years, we have had 2 modulars that sit outside of the school. And we've always thought that the Holy Grail, at some point, we would be able to get rid of those modulars. And the teachers have done an excellent job, but just in terms of facilities, it's far better to have the students inside of one building. So the question is, looking at these numbers, could we get rid of the modulars finally? The second question that came up is Mast Way. We've kind of had a reverse of the situation at Mohammed now, in the fact that Mast Way has really reached its maximum capacity. It's really full. And additionally, there is a major issue at the school with the music program. So we came up with this proposal: no, we are not going to add modulars to Mast Way and see if it takes us 21 years to get rid of them. We thought it would be a far better plan to, in fact, add an addition onto Mohammed. And so I know there is a Mast Way. So I know that this is a tremendous sea of green that you're looking at, but if you look at what looks like a little upside down pink boot there, that would be the addition at the back of Mast Way School. And fortunately, we have a better slide of this. And you can see from the pink, we're adding 3 new classrooms and also adding on a dedicated music room. And the music room has been a problem at Mast Way, similar to what had happened at Mohammed in the past, where we had the gymnasium and the cafeteria sharing a space. It was just less than ideal. So by building this addition, it finally gives the music program a dedicated space. Additionally, if you look at that blue space, it's really unusual for a district like Oyster River, particularly in the challenging times of economics of the state, to get any building aid. But through some foresight from Jim Rizicki, our facilities manager, we did a Homeland Security audit a few years ago, and that put us in a position to apply for grant money from the state. And in fact, we received over $500,000, and that allows us then, with that money, to redo the front entryway of the school. Finally, if the building looks really nice, it's also because in the fall, we had Siemens, who has done a lot of the facility work for our schools to bring them up into better positions, examine all of our schools and look at what our deficiencies were. And so they came back to the school board with a list of projects that needed to be done. And we began to whittle away at those projects and came up with about $3.785 million, which was replacing the windows at both Mohammed and Mast Way, putting in new LED lighting at Mohammed, Mast Way, and the high school, and then also adding building automation systems to Mohammed, Mast Way, and the high school as well. And this was done in a 10-year lease program. The first payment will not be seen in this budget. It'll be in the following budget. And if you look at this slide, it shows you what are the normal drivers of the budget. And I asked to have in red the capital improvement, which is $341,906, and the elementary staffing. And that really is the elementary story. The $188,000 is adding 2 teachers at Mast Way, which are required to stay within our guidelines of student class size. And then the capital improvement is to allow us to actually build the Mast Way addition in the budget and not have to borrow money. The other drivers, of course, were the negotiated agreements that the other board members talked about: health insurance, a technology lease to update our computers, and finally the teacher's contract. Of course, the question is, did we make our budget goal? And it was really quite difficult, and it always really is. And if you look at it, the total comes out to be 3.2% increase, which is under our actual budget. Okay, this is also a difficult slide to read, but if you go to the very bottom, which is the total general fund, you'll see what our estimate is of the tax impact of this budget on each of the towns. And if you look at it, it's pretty clear one of these does not look like the other. So Durham is projected at 56 cents per thousand. Lee is projected at 23 cents per thousand. And then Madbury really stands out because it's $1.29 per thousand. And this really was a puzzler for us. And we talked with Sue Caswell, who's our business director, and it seemed extremely counterintuitive. How could it be that Madbury was losing students, and therefore you would think they're going to pay less of the overall collective bill of the budget, but in fact they were paying more? And so the reason this is occurring is that the adequacy money that we're getting from the state, that calendar, is not on the same time frame as the allotment that you're getting of the total budget. So when you looked at the adequacy aid, the state is saying to Madbury, you have less students, so you get $90,000 less of student aid. Unfortunately, when we look at how we're cutting up or allocating the budget, your proportion is actually going up, because since you're on a different calendar year, it's saying your property is worth more and the number of students are more. And how much you pay is based 50% on the number of students, 50% is based on your property value. So in essence, what you've gotten is the double whammy, and it's a lesson. And it's a lesson about us trying to say tax rates or project tax rates, because there's a lot that is beyond the control of us. All we really can control is our expenditures. The last thing, of course, is the default budget, and you'll see that it's, if this budget did not pass, the default budget is $69,571 less than what we've done, and I think that shows that the closer those two numbers are, how tight our budget really is. And that's it. I'm open to any questions.
You've heard warrant Article 5 explained. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? There being none, those in favor of warrant Article 5 as presented? Those opposed? Warrant Article 5 is accepted as presented. I think we may have set a world record here tonight. Is anybody, Mr. Parsons? It wouldn't be right if we didn't hear from you once.
John Parsons from Durham. You stole my thunder, Mr. Lawton, because I was going to say in my almost 40 years of coming to district meetings, I'm pretty darn sure this is about the fastest one. And I'm sure it's the only one at which there have been no comments, except for me rambling. Anyway, I move we adjourn.
Is there a second? There's a second. We are adjourned.